I'm really a character animator at heart, and I got into all of this rigging stuff because I needed to be able to rig stuff that would allow me to animate the way I wanted to animate. And while rigging is interesting, character animation is basically what I do, actually. That's what I do most on a day-to-day basis, and it's what I prefer to do when given the option. Let's see. What are some other things worth showing? Well, actually, I can show you a concept, actually. This goes along with sort of what I've been talking about, called a broken rig. And broken rig not being a rig that doesn't work, but a rig where things are more disconnected than even a rig with IK. And first I'm going to show you like a piece of animation that I did with a broken rig recently. This is actually, you know that is the intro part to 11 with the little dog? Well, this is the intro part to our next short. The intro part is the only part that's actually been animated yet. And this was something that I wanted to use as an experiment to try animating with a broken rig. And I have to say, I really enjoyed it, and I wish that I could always animate with a broken rig. It does lend itself to very cartoony things. And I also got to animate this with the onion skinning, and man, it was so much easier and more fun than animating without onion skinning and without a broken rig. So let me show you what a broken rig is. Because it's really kind of a cool concept. I'm just going to load up this broken rig. So normally speaking, you know, when you're manipulating a character, you know, you might have FK, you might have IK, but you're still dealing with rotation of joints as sort of being your central way of thinking about the character, you know? This is not true in this case. Notice, for instance, that I can take the hand and pull it around and have literally no effect on the rest of the body at all, including the elbow. An alternative way of doing that is to do what I did for the arm on the other side. For purposes of argument, this is actually what I use. Where you do have an effect on the elbow, so at least it makes it a little easier for you, but it doesn't actually, it's not IK. It's not bending the elbow until you tell it to bend the elbow, and you tell it exactly where to put that elbow. And basically everything else here works exactly the same way. Completely disconnected. I can pull this body away from the head if I want to. And the thing about this is it makes it, you know, we spend so much time with rigs in computer graphics, you know, having these like sort of indirect controls. We've got IK, and we've got these like ways of manipulating things, and, you know, these sort of like secondary controls, and we're dealing with like rotate order, and we're dealing with like forward kinematics, where you're adding up things to, you know, like different rotations to get what you're eventually going to get. We're dealing with IK, where you can put the hand where you want, but it doesn't guarantee that the elbow is going to go where you want, right? You know, and the thing about a broken rig is it makes you really free to just like pull the character into the shape you want. It's the closest thing we have to the freedom of drawing. And I have to say, like, I think this is the future of animation, and I think CG animation, and I am basically 100% positive they were using broken rigging on Tangled. And the reason why I say that is because the Disney studio invented that concept. They invented it for a movie called Chicken Little, which was like really pretty cartoony. And the concept of broken rigging, actually it was interesting, it was at one particular SIGGRAPH where they sort of came out with that concept and they like showed off their rigs, and everyone was just like, what the heck? He's like, you move the body and the head doesn't move? What the heck? And it totally changed people's perceptions of sort of like what you could do with rigging in animation was really about. And I'm really sort of excited to sort of go in that direction. Cartoony animation is what I like, actually. I mean, I obviously end up doing professionally a lot more realistic stuff just because it's what you do. But it's not really what I want to do. What I want to do is cartoony stuff, actually. And the new short that we're doing is really cartoony.